a cool thing to see you guys kind of have that time.
Tony's a great driver, and working in the booth with you. By the way, I want to compliment you. You did a great job this year, as always, and we love to watch the shows on Fox. And yeah, Tony's great.
10 years. So on the periphery, we've been providing services and benefits to help member companies in the automotive aftermarket.
Alex, I am 22 years old, so I have a little less lengthy and colorful story as of now, but I plan to change that. So my aspect on this is that I'm coming into the industry. So a little bit of background is I pretty much grew up in the industry from a couple weeks old.
When I got there, it's because opportunities would come up. I have a week off, and a friend of mine calls me and says, "Man, we're short crew guys on my alcohol boat." Okay. And
this was such a great class. Two people that stood out to Nathaniel were Alex Taylor, because she's obviously closer in age to him and already making waves in the motorsports arena, and Alan Reinhardt, the voice of the NHRA, and his advice to make connections and to say yes more often, because you just never know where those opportunities will lead.
Right now, I'm interested in motorsports, not quite set on it yet. So it's kind of wanted to see.
Did you learn anything in particular from the workshop that you think you can apply?
Yeah, they gave a little advice about networks, different connections,
So this is something kind of cool that happened while we were there unexpectedly. We were actually in a hurry, walking from one end of the convention center to the other, trying to meet someone at a certain time. And about halfway there, we ran across this Lincoln Electric booth, and Nathaniel stopped me and said, "Hey, Dad, can I weld?" Well, at first I thought to myself, well, no, we're in a hurry. But then I reminded myself, this is exactly why we're here. So I told him, sure. Sometimes you just have to stop and ask yourself, what's the point? And stopping and letting Nathaniel weld definitely met that criteria. Good job, dude. How's that feel compared to our Lincoln at home? Does it feel any different? A trigger the same? Weld about the same? Which one did you actually end up using? The bottom? Oh, okay. That's a little nicer than ours.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. And this is where we were headed before we stopped to weld, to meet Matt Hunt, who is a lab TA and student engineer in IUPUI's Motorsports Engineering program. IUPUI is Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis, which is my alma mater, and they are the first university in the United States to offer a bachelor's degree in motorsports engineering. If you're interested, I'll put a link to their program in the description below. But visiting here has been on our bucket list for some time, and Matt offered to unlock the facility and give us a private tour. So I'll let him talk now. What circuit is that going to go on?
So that runs autocross in SCCA.
Yep.
That's a car that students are able to drive, and that's kind of
Oh, okay.
the fun car.
Do you go up to Grissom sometimes as
Yeah.
well, and up there? Yeah, it's a big area for that.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's the motor. Yeah, exactly 1 year ago, this weekend, your car looked like this. Yep. That one's a little more complete.
So, this old girl came in second place nationally the last time we raced it, actually. It was 2017, it was here on the road course at Indy.
Oh, on the actual road course,
Yeah.
at the track. Yeah, at IMS, yeah.
So we had a garage and everything. We stayed there for a week and a half.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, it was okay. At the time, I lived walking 10 minutes from the track.
Yeah.
So it was nice for me. But yeah, it was
Wow.
it was tough, and then I was really proud of everything that came together the way it did.
So cool.
And then we've done a ton to it since then. just making improvements that we
I was gonna say that was 2 years ago, so I'm sure that you've not been idle on this car. There's been
almost everything in the car has changed, really.
I'm not surprised.
In fact, right now, we redesigned the front steering system. So we're going from, we had this old Clips design, the original Miata one, and just weren't super happy with it. It's got like the ball end, and it's all right, but you can't really adjust bump steer with it.
Right.
So with this guy, we're gonna have this in here. That'll sit in there, and then based on the amount of shims we have either on the bottom or the top, you can adjust the amount of bump steer the car has.
Really?
Yeah, you learn how to do timing and read a cam and map a cam. Cool. Do all that.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this will be actually the only carbureted one in the class.
Really good.
Yeah, the rest of them are like newer engines. I think we've got like a 5.0.
Yeah, it's got enough room to put the whole frame on here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea. We were thinking about buying some I-beams for when we stretch it and moving the table a little bit, and then being able to just set the car on here on the frame rail.
We're so glad we were able to come visit the campus to see some cool stuff and to give us an idea of where a degree in motorsports engineering can take you. In reality, this is exactly why I bring Nathaniel to PRI, to give him a taste of what's out there and to get an idea of perhaps where he wants to land one day when he ultimately chooses a career path. Thanks especially to you, Matt, for taking time out of your Saturday to show us around and being an inspiration to my son.
Tours, almost tours here completely. So, sometimes, it
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Here they go. Oh, just made it. And that's it. Smells good. Smell that race fuel? Yeah, buddy. Got one circle on. Pretty wild. Pretty cool. Carnage. Total carnage. So at this point, the PRI show was over, but we were still inside because we were going to help our friend Chad from Hot Rod Chassis and Cycle tear down part of their display at the Viking Performance booth, and then to help push the 65 Barracuda they built out of the convention center and onto an enclosed trailer. But that wasn't all. The best part was that Chad had something very special waiting for Nathaniel. Oh, is that them?
Yep.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Oh, dude.
Here they are.
Check it out, dude. You get to open it, yeah. This is yours.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Let's see it, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, let me stop here and give a little backstory. This is an old friend of mine from my high school days, actually. This is Chad Hill from Hot Rod Chassis and Cycle. You might remember Chad from episode 37 when I interviewed him at SEMA, and we discussed ways you can take your passion and talents and put them into a career. Well, after the interview was done there at the Stuart Warner booth, I went over to look at the new gauges on the wall, and one particular set caught my eye, the Muscle Car series, because they were black, white, and red, which was the color scheme we were eventually going to paint Nathaniel's car, Miles. I commented on how much I love those gauges to him, and then learned that he designed them himself. Well, the next few minutes were a blur, but one thing led to another, and before that conversation was over, we'd talked to the representatives from Stuart Warner and amazingly found ourselves with a new set of gauges for Miles, our first sponsorship. Okay, back to the video. Look at that.
That's really
beautiful.
Cool. That's really cool. Wow. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. That's beautiful. And you designed that.
I did.
It's really come full circle, hasn't it?
This is the first set of 3 from the 9 total that I designed to come out this year and then 2020.
Really? Oh, that's so awesome, dude. So, can you explain your connection with Stuart Warner and how far back it goes for the viewers watching?
Where should I start?
Right, it goes back pretty far.
It does go back pretty far.
Yeah.
So I'm 3rd generation Stuart Warner because of my grandfather. He retired from Stuart Warner and he was 48. I've got a plaque at home that says 20 years of service from 1948 from
So
Stuart
we
Warner.
started in 28.
So yeah, my grandfather retired from there. My dad worked there for a summer, just in the factory or whatever.
There in our hometown of Lebanon.
Yeah, in Lebanon.
Yep.
And then now I've been a client with Stuart Warner for the design work for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And we started working with Stuart Warner with our shop, High Ride Chassis and Cycle, in 2010.
Yeah, it goes back a few years. Yeah, longer than you've been designing for them, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you got to design your own gauges, and only so many come out per year.
Right.
And this is the 3rd?
This is well, it's a group of 3. So
Group of 3.
It was the Muscle, the Catalina, and the Mariner.
And this is the Muscle series.
Muscle
Yeah,
series.
which is funny because I looked at that on the wall there at SEMA, and I thought, oh, that's beautiful. I love that design. And it's the same color scheme as what Nathaniel's car is going to be. And that's when I found out that you designed it, which
So I
was
talked
even more perfect, yeah.
So I talked to the guys at Stuart Warner and gave them a little bit of information about you guys and the project. They wanted to help, so here we are.
Well, this is amazing. Amazing. So, these are just gorgeous. Got like racing stripes. And they're classic enough that they fit perfectly with the design of the Monza from the 70s anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of chrome rimmed anyway. So
I wanted to have a race inspired 60s look, which is with a
They
little bit
do.
of a modern flair. That's cool.
yep, yeah. I just love that it just happens to be the exact same color scheme as the car. Once we get it done. Eventually, yeah. So awesome. Thank you, Chad. And we'll definitely reach out to Stuart Warner as well and be sure to thank them. We really do want to give Stuart Warner a huge thanks for believing in us and allowing us to partner with him in the build of what we're calling Miles 2.0, as you see depicted here in a rendering done by the very talented Phil Puhl of Phil Puhl Digital Art. We'll be installing these gauges very soon, and you will see that in a future episode of Spyder Garage. Here we go, buddy. Oh boy. Yeah.
Yep.
First time you ever got to drive a race car.
I don't know if it's kind of
Well, sort of drive. It's not running.
steer it.
Right. All in all, our trip to PRI again this year was a success. Not in the way that most would consider, but in how we got to meet so many people who were able to tell their story to Nathaniel, give good advice, and inspire him in some way. Our extended car family, most of whom were here, is far and wide, and it was like one big family reunion. Later that night, we met with more of our car family, Sean and Sarah Jones of Sweaty Speed Shop, had dinner together, then went out for a cruise, and ended the night with some donuts in an abandoned parking lot. See you next year.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.